Every time you say yes, when your entire body is screaming no, you are casting a powerful vote for a reality you do not want. This act of people-pleasing is a subtle form of self-betrayal, and its consequences are far more concrete than just feeling a little drained. It is the primary reason your attempts to manifest the life you desire feel like shouting into a void. By the end of this, you will understand the precise mechanics of how this happens, and how your social survival instincts are hijacking the very system meant to create your reality. And chances are, you're running this hijacking program every single day without realizing it is the source of your stagnation. Let's begin with the signal. Your authentic desire, the life you truly want to live, emits a very specific frequency. Think of it as a clear, pure tone. It's the career that energizes you, the relationship that expands you, the sense of peace you crave. That signal is your truth. People-pleasing is the act of deliberately overlaying that clear tone with static. When your boss asks you to stay late and you agree while internally seething, you introduce the frequency of resentment. When you go to a party you dread to avoid disappointing a friend, you add the frequency of obligation. When you bite your tongue to keep the peace, you broadcast the frequency of fear. These secondary frequencies, resentment, obligation, fear, are incredibly loud. They are survival-based emotions, designed to grab your brain's attention. The result is a corrupted, muddy signal. You are telling the universe or your own subconscious mind two things at once. You are saying, I want freedom, but you are broadcasting, I am someone who is easily controlled by other people's expectations. You are saying, I want abundance, but your actions are screaming, my needs are not as important as keeping others happy. This confused signal is what gets reflected back to you. You get more situations that make you feel resentful. You attract more people who test your boundaries. The world is a perfect feedback mechanism. It is simply reflecting the jumbled, static-filled broadcast you are sending out. The real problem is that this process quickly becomes invisible. You get so used to the static that you forget what the clear signal even sounds like. Your own desire becomes a faint whisper under the roar of everyone else's needs. And that's when the manifestation process grinds to a complete halt, because the system can't build on a blueprint that changes every 5 minutes, based on who is in the room. But what if this isn't just a metaphor about energy? What if it's a literal, neurological process where your brain learns to ignore the very opportunities you're asking for? Your brain has a built-in filtering system called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. It sits at the base of your brain, and its job is to sort through the billions of bits of data bombarding you every second and decide what gets through to your conscious awareness. It's the reason you can be in a loud room and still hear your name mentioned from across it. It's also why, when you decide you want a certain model of car, you suddenly start seeing that car everywhere. The cars were always there. Your RAS just wasn't programmed to flag them as important. You get to program your RAS with your focus, your intentions, and your repeated thoughts. This system is the biological hardware for manifestation. It actively scans your environment for evidence that matches your internal state. Here is the mechanical problem with people-pleasing. When your primary focus is on managing other people's emotions, you are programming your RAS to look for threats to social harmony. Your focus is constantly outward. Is my boss happy? Does my partner seem upset? Will this group of people approve of me? You have trained your RAS to be a hyper-vigilant social radar. Its prime directive becomes spotting potential disapproval, spotting conflict, spotting any scenario where you might be judged or rejected. It becomes exceptionally good at this job. So good, in fact, that it filters out almost everything else. The opportunity for that business you wanted to start might appear, but it will be filtered out because your RAS has flagged the risk of failure and judgment as more important. The person who could be an amazing partner might walk into your life, but your RAS will filter them out because their confidence might trigger your fear of being abandoned. Your brain literally renders the things you want invisible. It prioritizes the data that keeps you safe in the social hierarchy over the data that could lead to your personal expansion. You are trying to find gold, but you've told your metal detector to only search for landmines. The system is working perfectly based on the instructions it has been given, but the instructions are for a life of survival, not a life of creation. And those instructions are written by a part of you that has assumed a very specific and very limited identity. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. This goes deeper than thoughts or affirmations. It's about embodiment. When you consistently prioritize others' comfort over your own truth, you're casting hundreds of votes a day for the identity of the peacekeeper, the good one, or the one who doesn't cause trouble. Your subconscious receives these votes and assumes this is who you have decided to be. Manifestation is the process of reality conforming to your dominant identity. You receive experiences that are a match for who you believe you are, on a cellular level. So, if your embodied identity is that of a people pleaser, you will manifest a reality that requires you to please people. You will be given endless opportunities to sacrifice your needs, to manage others' emotions, and to keep the peace at your own expense. This is why positive thinking alone often fails. You can stand in the mirror and affirm, "I am worthy and deserving of all my desires," but if you walk out the door and immediately agree to do something that violates your own boundaries, your actions have just cast a much more powerful vote. Your body's yes drowned out your mouth's affirmation. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your energetic signature, your embodied identity, and the identity of a people pleaser has a very specific signature. It's an energy of apology. A subtle, constant broadcast of, "I'm sorry for taking up space. I'm sorry for having needs." Critics sometimes misinterpret setting boundaries as selfishness. The two are entirely different systems. Selfishness is about taking from others without regard for their well-being. Authenticity is about honoring your own internal system so you have something genuine to give. A people pleaser gives from a place of deficit, hoping the act of giving will fill them up. It never does. An authentic person fills their own cup first and then gives from the overflow. The identity you assume dictates whether you operate from deficit or overflow. And your current identity was likely programmed long before you were even aware of it. But if the very identity is the block, how does one even begin to change it without it feeling fake or forced? The answer lies in understanding the energetic cost of inauthenticity. Every time you act against your own internal guidance system, you create a kind of energetic debt. This debt shows up in your body as a tangle of low-frequency emotions, resentment, anxiety, frustration, and a pervasive feeling of being trapped. These feelings are more than just unpleasant. They are dense, heavy energies that literally lower your overall state of being. You cannot manifest a joyous, abundant life from a state of chronic resentment. It's like trying to grow a beautiful garden in toxic soil. The energetic frequencies are incompatible. Authentic desire, on the other hand, feels expansive. It feels like excitement, passion, curiosity, and flow. It is a high-frequency state. When you are aligned with what you truly want, you feel light. You feel energized. The work of manifestation is the work of closing the gap between the low-frequency state of people-pleasing and the high-frequency state of authenticity. This isn't about thinking positive to cover up the resentment. That's like spraying air freshener in a room with rotting garbage. The underlying frequency is still there. The real work is to remove the garbage. It's to stop performing the actions that generate the resentment in the first place. This means you have to get comfortable with a different kind of feeling. The feeling of disappointing someone. The feeling of being temporarily misunderstood. The feeling of choosing your own peace over their comfort. This is a clean discomfort. It's the sharp, momentary sting of setting a boundary, which then gives way to a profound sense of self-respect and inner peace. People-pleasing offers the opposite. It offers the momentary relief of avoiding conflict, which is immediately replaced by the dirty, lingering discomfort of self-abandonment. This is the choice you face every single day. Which discomfort will you choose? The clean pain that leads to freedom, or the dirty pain that leads to stagnation? And there is a first simple, mechanical step to start making that choice. The first step is to stop making immediate decisions, especially when you feel pressured. The people-pleasing impulse is a conditioned reflex. It's fast. To override it, you have to introduce a pause. When someone asks you for something, your only job is to create a space between the request and your response. You can use simple phrases. "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." "I need to think about that for a minute." "I'll let you know by the end of the day." This pause is everything. It is a sacred space where you can check in with yourself. Inside that pause, you ask one simple question: what do I truly want to do? Listen to the first answer that arises, the first whisper. It might be quiet, it might be drowned out by years of conditioning that scream, "You have to say yes or they'll be mad." Your job is to honor the whisper. In the beginning, this will feel terrifying. Disappointing people can feel like a survival threat because for our ancestors, it was. Social rejection could mean death. Your brain is running ancient software, but you are living in a new world. Saying no to working on a Saturday will not get you kicked out of the tribe. Start small. Say no to something insignificant. Decline a social invitation you were dreading. State a preference at a restaurant instead of saying, "I'm fine with anything." Each time you do this, you cast a vote for a new identity. The identity of someone who honors their own energy. Someone whose needs matter. Each small act of authenticity sends a new, clearer signal to your reticular activating system. It starts to learn that your preferences are important. It begins to scan the world for things that align with your desires, not just things that will appease others. This is the slow, steady work of recalibrating your entire reality creation system from the ground up. Manifestation isn't an esoteric practice of wishing, it is the science of identity alignment. You are constantly manifesting every moment of every day. The question is what identity you are manifesting from. The people pleaser manifests a world filled with demands and obligations because that is the reality their identity requires to exist. It's a self-sustaining loop. Breaking that loop requires courage, the courage to be momentarily disliked. The courage to choose your own truth over social ease. The things you want are trying to find you. The opportunities, the people, the experiences, they are all circling, waiting for a clear signal to lock onto. People-pleasing is the static that keeps them at a distance. It's the fog that makes you invisible to your own desires. Clearing the static is a process of subtraction, not addition. It's about letting go of the need for external validation. It's about unlearning the habit of self-abandonment. And it starts with a simple pause, a single breath, a moment of stillness where you decide, finally, to listen to the signal you were born with. The mirror of reality is always on. You are the one who decides which reflection it shows.